Right now I work with a variety of families, which I love. I love actually helping to do like playrooms and kids' bedrooms and just helping families also to realize that not everything in our homes is going to look like HGTV perfect. So we're living in homes. So
forget
knowing that, yeah, right here, you're going to get, let's be real, we're living in our homes and we're doing all these activities and things get busy and put aside and we have to pick and choose our priorities. So just knowing that we can bring it back to order, but also having the grace for ourselves when things do fall out of order.
Hi, and welcome to the Christ-Driven Woman Podcast, the recommended podcast for Christian female entrepreneurs and really any woman who wants to grow closer to Christ. Whether you are just starting out in business, a seasoned entrepreneur, or a stay-at-home mom, you, sister, were created for far more than you could possibly ask or imagine. I'm Charisse Burton, Christian Certified Master Business and Life Coach. And from my experience growing from beyond the impossible as a teenage runaway to a successful CEO building multiple six-figure businesses across multiple industries, I will teach you how to hit your first 10K month and then go far beyond that using my proven systems. These strategies will help you build a business that defies expectations and also will grow your faith beyond measure. I'm so glad you're here. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to the Christ-Driven Woman Podcast. I am so happy you're here. I'm Charisse Burton. I'm a Christian business and life coach, and I am your host. And we have a wonderful guest today. I'm very excited to talk to Jessica Terenyi. And we were practicing saying her last name before we got started. Yay, I got it. So I'm super excited to have her here. And so let me tell you just a little bit about Jessica. She is the owner and the CEO of JK Organizing. She is a professional organizer and life coach, which when I saw that she's a professional organizer, I was like, oh my Lord, that's when you don't want somebody to come see your house. When you're the professional organizer, because immediately I'm like, oh, this is not good. So thankfully we are not in my home doing this, but my space looks organized. At least the Beautiful. Part where the camera is picking up is organized. You don't want to see over here. So Jessica started her business as a professional organizer in February of 2020. Oh yeah, but a lot of people figured out right then that a lot of things needed to be upgraded or organized or cleaned out because that's all they had to do in their home was look at stuff.
Right.
Because it was such a crazy time. So while serving her clients by helping them get organized in the spaces within their homes, she discovered the need for coaching, which I am absolutely positive. And I've heard even statistics that during that season of COVID, everything just skyrocketed, which makes complete sense. And you saw that there was a need for coaching. So fast forward to April 2021, when you joined the Health Coach Institute, which is amazing. So now you are a certified life and health coach as of November 2021.
Yep.
That is awesome. So thank you for spending some time with us this morning. So tell us a little bit more about you. I read your official bio, but I always like to know a little bit more about, what really kind of got you into organizing, first of all, and then what did you really see in that season of 2020 where you were like, oh wait, this goes way deeper. Let me jump into more depth, like a deeper part of coaching.
Yes, definitely. So I will start with where I'm located. So I'm in Severn, Maryland in Anne Arundel County. I'm a mom of two girls. So my stepdaughter is soon to be 12 and my daughter is 13. So we're in the teen years now, married, and we have a black lab shepherd mix. So he's a bundle of joy and needs lots of love and attention. So I, with organizing, have always, just as a child growing up, was very organized and loved to help my sisters get the rooms clean and organized and neat and tidy. And I think a lot of that actually comes from my dad, believe it or not. He raised us over the years. Mm-hmm. And it's just something that stuck with me. So then it was helping friends and family over the years, helping them with a variety of spaces. So I say that it's not just the home, but it's attics, basements, and garages included. So I'm touching on all the spaces.
Let me just go back real quick. Let me interrupt for a second. You helped your sisters get organized?
I did.
Did they pay you?
Not at
I
that
mean,
time. I
because
discovered that part later.
I have four sons. Well, I will say this. My youngest son decided he wanted to cook. So he cooked like crazy, and his brothers would pay him to cook for them, like breakfast and things like that.
Oh
Because
my
I
goodness.
cooked dinners and whatnot. But I'm just amazed that you went into your sister's rooms and they let you in the rooms, first of all, and then that you help them organize. That's amazing. I mean, a lot of siblings would be like, no, don't touch my stuff. Don't even look in my room. That just says a lot about you, actually, just right there.
Thank you. And I think it was more so like the younger years when we were at
Hmm.
all the age ranges where we got along because, we got older and then we like despised each other. And then we're in a space now where we have such an age gap between us that we love each
Hmm.
other. So we
Oh,
actually have
that's
a weekly
awesome.
call every week. We talk to each other on
Oh, that's
Sundays. So
awesome.
one sister's here in Maryland and the other sister's in Virginia. So we just love on each other all the time.
I love that. I love that so
Yeah.
much. So cool. So fast forward a little bit and tell us about the coaching that started with the organizing rather in later in life when you're like, you know what? People need this and I could make some serious money helping as far as the need for organizing.
Yes. So what's interesting is actually I first thought of the idea when I was pregnant with my now 13-year-old daughter. So I was actually in a nail salon of all places getting a pedicure, and that light bulb went off. And I was like, oh, organizing, that's something I could do. And I'm curious to know more about this. So I looked on Facebook, found a group called Jumpstart to be a professional organizer, and started working with the admin of the group who coached women to start their own organizing businesses. So by that February is when I got my LLC, and I was all in. I was all in. And at the time I was working as an oral surgeon for a group, oh, not an oral surgeon. I was working for a group of oral surgeons as a
Mm-hmm.
surgical assistant. And I put my foot down that July of 2020. I was like, I'm done. I'm putting my 2 weeks. I was exhausted. I was burnt
Oh,
out with the
yeah.
work I was doing. I was ready to move on. So then my first official client, I'm going to say, was in June of 2020. And just kind of the couple months that followed that, and then into 2021, is when I was kind of starting to make that connection with the coaching piece and knowing that it was more than just the clutter. So we could get you
Mm-hmm.
organized. You still might need some maintenance, but then there's a whole lot of other things going on in your world. And a lot of my clients are going through major life transitions. So it was blended families, getting married, getting divorced, all kinds of different things, even generational. So helping
Mm-hmm.
parents to downsize is another big thing for me
Mm-hmm.
too.
Yeah, that's a huge deal because, we're almost empty nesters. There's that phase of empty nest, in case people don't know that out there. There's a phase of empty nest syndrome, I guess, where your kids move out to go to college, but there's in between stages, like they come back for holidays or they come back for the summers or they graduate and they might not have a job right away, which means they don't have an apartment right away. So they come back for, 2, 3, 6 months time frame. And then there's like the official springboard into the world. And that's when that empty nest really happens. And so we actually are about to springboard our youngest one out. He's come home through the summers. He came home for a little while in the spring, and then he took a job. And so he's looking at an apartment to move out in June. So we're in that phase of we're almost full into, with both feet, the empty nest world. And we're already cleaning stuff out. But there is such an emotional piece to that. It's especially, I mean, as far as I would think, honestly, anything when you're decluttering or trying to organize or get rid of things, especially when you're downsizing. At least that's from what I can speak from. But other major life transitions, I'm sure, have that connection as well, which I think would really, really just need your expertise as far as the life coaching
Right.
and helping people walk through those steps, not just with the decluttering and downsizing, but walk through those steps of releasing the stage they were in and embracing the stage they're moving into.
Beautifully spoken. Yes,
Wow.
absolutely.
So who do you see? Who is your dream client that you serve?
So my dream client is unfolding as we speak. So that's a journey in itself. And right now I work with a variety of families, which I love. I love actually helping to do like playrooms and kids' bedrooms, just make them fun and functional. And just helping families also to realize that not everything in our homes is going to look like HGTV perfect. So we're
All
living in
right.
homes. So
Forget it.
knowing that, yeah, right, you're going to get, it's going to be, maybe picture perfect for a moment of time, but let's be real. We're living in our homes and we're doing all these activities and things get busy and put aside and we have to pick and choose our priorities. So just knowing that we can bring it back to order, but also having the grace for ourselves when things do fall out of order.
Oh my gosh. It is so beautiful. My mind is just going in all these different directions because of so many places that your coaching knowledge and wisdom as far as life coaching is going to support the organizing, because it's so much deeper than that. Oh my goodness. Because I was thinking about when my kids were little, and I'm telling you, they didn't have HGTV back then. I'm just going to tell you right now. But I was determined that my house would be perfect. And of course, that has to do with, my childhood and wanting everything to be completely opposite. And so, opposite meant, June Cleaver and not Marcia, but Carol Brady. And so everything had to be, that's like TV. So everything, of course, is
Right.
always perfect. But I really, really worked on keeping my house perfect. I mean, as soon as we finished something, it was cleaned up, put away, didn't even look like anybody lived there sometimes. And then that was with my first son. Then we had son number 2, who was completely opposite. I mean, he was like, I always used to say, he's the one who taught me to not be that way, because I would clean something up and he would literally come behind me and undo everything. I would straighten something, fix all the books on the bookshelf. He would come behind me, pull them all down. I would go over and fix all the placemats in the cabinet. He would just pull, like literally like clockwork, right behind me. And I just remember thinking, okay, we're not going to survive if this continues. But it wasn't him that needed to change. It was my expectations of what
Mhm.
life with children should look like, and that because we have a messy home or lived in home, which kind of equals messy in many cases, in some situations when you have multiple kids, that has no, that says nothing about my mothering skills. And that's what I connected to. Oh my gosh, my house is a mess. I've got dirty laundry in the laundry hamper. I've got, the kids are messy. They've got their hair's messed up. Their clothes are dirty, or they got spilled something and I didn't change them. I mean, if they spilled something, I'd change them immediately. I mean, it was by the time the 4th kid rolled around, I was like, oh, whatever. I don't care. You gotta go change your own diaper. I mean, it's like, whatever. But it's just really almost so interesting to see how important it would be to have a life coach come in if you're struggling with that place of not being able to keep your house as perfect as you want it to. Well, let's figure out where that's coming from and what you feel like that means to you. Oh my goodness, if I had known you back then, it would have been so amazing. But do you see that happen frequently, that it's more tied into, their organization might be off, or they're completely disorganized? Do you see many times that that's tied into what they think about themselves, or what the perception will be about themselves if things aren't perfect?
Absolutely. And what came up as you were talking is identity. That's been kind of
Mm-hmm.
coming up
Kind
all
of my
around me
thing, yeah.
sermons. And so absolutely. I think we in society, everything is just so fast paced and there's all these high expectations and all these, we have to succeed and we have to be driven and we have to do all these great things.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has to be perfect along that journey.
Yep.
There's no place to just pause and kind of reflect. Here we are, and why are we here? And some of where we are today we may be pulling in on our experiences from the past for good or for bad. and bringing them to the present. So to help us kind of bridge the gap and move from the present to the future, what does that look like? And how do we kind of work through the space that we're currently in and appreciating what we're in as well? Because
Oh,
just
that's
because
good.
it's chaos and things are disorganized, there's still beauty in that. So helping people to open up their eyes and realize, like, okay, so I didn't have time to clean up that mess, but because I didn't have time to clean up that mess, I got to create memories here in this moment with my child or with the
Mm-hmm.
parents I'm caring for or whatever, fill in the blank.
Oh, that's such a good point. And I remember one specific instance where, I mean, I literally, people just don't, when I was literally a nutcase. I mean, I truly judged myself on how good of a mom I was being and wife I was being and how happy our kids were being or were going to be if the whole entire house was absolutely clean. I vacuumed every single day. I mean, and this is when I just had 2 kids. So I got a little bit, I hit a wall after that. But in this time frame, though, I mean, the house was perfect every single day. I cleaned the bathrooms every single day. I made sure there was no dirty laundry in the laundry hamper. So I was doing laundry every single day. And if when my husband came home from work, who will eat cream of mushroom soup out of a can, that is how demanding he is. Like, not at all. I mean, not at all. Like, zero demanding. It was all me. I was demanding it of myself. So when he came home from work, if all of that was happening and there was steam coming off the food on the table for dinner, then I was doing a good job. And all the dishes that I had used to cook with were already washed and put away. I was a freaking nutcase. So you can imagine I did that for 10 years. And I would get up before he left for work and shower and put my makeup on and do my hair every single day. 10 years. So the wall I hit, I'm telling you, I hit it going 90 miles an hour head first. I mean, it's the truth. So the point I guess I'm getting at is that the instance that is so ingrained in my brain is it was after dinner and I was trying to get the dishes cleaned up so that the kitchen would be clean, and that everything else would be clean. And Andy was on the floor playing with the boys. And I was aggravated that he wasn't helping me do the dishes. And he said, I've been gone all day. Almost makes me want to cry. And this was like, let's see, probably 27 years ago. He said, I've been gone all day. I just want to play with the boys. And when we put them to bed, I'll come help you do the dishes. But I'm not going to spend my time doing dishes that I could be spending with the boys. And
Wow.
I mean, it was like an arrow to my heart. I don't think he even remembers that. And he was absolutely not hateful about it. He wasn't being snotty or there was no sarcasm. There was nothing in his voice that was ugly or aggravating. It was just, this is what's going to happen. This is what I'm going to do because I'm going to play with my boys and then I'll come help you. I mean, it was very just kind and matter of fact. And so I don't think he even remembers that. We haven't talked about it, but it was like an arrow to my heart because I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? What am I doing? I am wasting time over here trying to make everything perfect when I could be on the floor playing with our 2 sons at the time and my husband. And like I said, that was a moment in time I will never forget. Now, sadly, I didn't jump on that immediately and changed right then, but it was the beginning. That was the beginning point of me going, okay, no, I've got to figure out something different. Of course, it wasn't about me yet.
Right.
That came later when I figured, oh, it's me that's got to change. Oh, crap. That's the hardest thing. That did come eventually. And, we're still always changing and getting better, but hopefully. But wow, imagine being able, I'm sure you do, being able to have that influence on someone so that they finally see or understand that, yes, keeping a clean home can be a priority. However, having a different point of view about it, not making it the priority,
Yes.
can just change your whole world and that of your children. And you mentioned something earlier about your parents and having the moments with them instead of having to, make sure everything's perfect. That is something that I don't think a lot of people think of. I think we think of children and having more time with our kids, but how often do we think of having more time with our aging parents? Maybe some do. I've heard some of it, but I think hands down, would you agree that we think more about that situation with our children?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
Yeah,
such
because
a
by the
great
time we
point.
think about our parents, we're just like, oh, well, as we were their children and growing up, that's when we created all the memories. But we don't think about when they're aging, or maybe we're their caretakers, or maybe they've lost the significant other, maybe the husband's passed away or the
Mhm.
wife's passed away, and then you just have them living on their own or maybe in a care center. But there's still time and memories can be made, and that's what they want. They want your love, they want your conversation. So yeah.
This is such a unique offer. It really is because, you see a lot of life coaches. I mean, come on now. We see a lot of life coaches out there. However, tying it into what's going on in your world, what just the thought that just hit me. I wonder how many people who have that tendency to hoard would benefit from someone who didn't just come in and clean out their house, but came in and was a life coach for them and taught them, how to get rid of things. And there's so many other psychological parts moving there. But I was talking to a friend recently that just said that, they had a parent that tended to hoard, and so they would go out and clean everything out. And then a month later, it was exactly the same way it was before. And they would go, she said she did it 2 or 3 times. And then this individual got remarried and the hoarding stopped.
Wow.
Isn't that fascinating?
It's interesting. However, the thing I was thinking about is it breaking the cycle. Breaking
Yes.
the cycle. So even if you think about, even me trying to help my own family members can be a struggle to get them to be organized to where they want to be. But if
Mhm.
someone were to come in my shoes as the organizer from the outside looking in, I'm that outside perspective for a lot of families. So they
Right.
can see things differently and they can learn things and they're willing to listen and to understand and have a conversation. Whereas with like family members, it's like, okay, yeah, whatever, I'm over this conversation.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That
So
would be so amazing though I mean, there's so many different opportunities, I think, that we don't realize, but that is such a unique blend of gifts to be that person who has the knowledge and the skills to help you organize, but also has that emotional sort of training and that coaching certificate, that coaching experience to be able to say, okay, let's look at this. What is important to you? Why is this important to you? What would happen if we let this go? Or what would happen if we did this a different way? And letting that person talk through it instead of just going in and redoing everything. Because like I think it's going to be exactly the way it was, a month later. Because the underlying root of the matter wasn't addressed. It's not about, oh, I'm getting all excited. It's not about just, your kid keeping his room clean. Sometimes we need to figure out what the root is. I mean, yes, now don't get me wrong. I had 4 teenage boys. Lord have mercy. I did not teach them about the way they kept their rooms, but I also was not going to go in there and clean their rooms either. That
right.
was their space and they needed to take care of it. And I know they can be slobs. But I think there is a point in some cases that we need to go, okay, what's happening here? What's the root of this? Is it just that you're being a slob, or is it that maybe there is something that you're upset about, or maybe there is a depression factor that we kind of need to look into? There's so many underlying roots of things that we just tend to ignore, and I bet you we ignore so much of it when it comes to organizing.
Absolutely. And I love that you actually brought up a mental health component. So I'm very passionate about that as well.
Oh, yeah.
I actually serve at a nonprofit that's here locally in Anne Arundel County. It's called the Life of Joy Foundation, and her foundation fosters a holistic approach to mental health and suicide prevention. So like you said, awesome. I mean, it just goes so deep. So being able to get people connected to resources, or may not even know that, hey, I have this mental health component that's really a burden to me, and I don't know how to process that. A lot of my clients, I would say probably 99% of my clients have ADHD, at least for some baseline, mental health component. So just really being able to meet them where they are. And maybe there's also trauma involved. So that's where they are with their disorganization. And that involves, are they seeing a therapist? Do they need to be connected to a therapist to get that support as well? Because I don't have that expertise. They are working with the trauma in the past. As a coach, I'm meeting them in the present and helping them to get to the future.
That is amazing. This is so, so good, Jessica. It opens so many doors. I don't think this really needs to get out there as far as what's the organization or lack of tied to. That would be a good post, just by the way.
Yes. Yes. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. There's just so many opportunities, and it goes so deep, and, peeling back the layers, so many layers.
Oh man, if you've heard me at all, I hate the onion. I hate the onion because it has, everybody said peel back the layer. I get it and I understand it, but I flippin' hate the onion because I'm like, just rip the Band-Aid off fast. That's if I ever had to do anything, I'm the first one in line to do something that is going to be painful or I don't want to do because I want to get it over with. Right. That dreading piece. So I always say, just boil the onion and smash it. But I also know that God created us so that we grow with each layer we peel back, so that then we can go to the next layer and peel that back. Because if we did it all at once, we wouldn't be able to handle it. I get that. I know it. I don't like it because I want to get it over with.
Right.
But I get it. But you're absolutely right. There's so many layers to everything you're talking about. And we stop so often at the surface. Just right at the surface, and okay, let's get the room cleaned up or get the house cleaned out or whatever, get this organized, whatever, and we're done. And sometimes that's enough, but not always. And that's where you come in. I think you come in both of those areas, actually helping them get the organization piece, but then also uncovering, is this all that's needed, or is this going to turn around and be right back in the same place a month from now? And if that's the case, we need to figure out the root so that we can function at a level that they're happier, that they feel more confident, and it is somewhat more organized. That is such a powerful gift that you offer.
Thank you.
That's so amazing. So is there anything else? Do you have a freebie or anything that people could grab from you, or tell us about that, and then tell us how they can get connected with you otherwise?
Yes. So my freebie actually created a while back, but it's still connected to what I'm doing now. It's 10 ways to declutter your home and mind. So there is a link for that on my website. So organizinghomesandslives.com. I'm across Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn for social media. And all my links are on Linktree. So, and awesome. That's /JK Organizing LLC.
And we'll put those links. You shared those links with me, right? So we'll put those in the show notes. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Jessica, thank you so much for being here. This was such a cool conversation.
I agree.
Just eye-opening, and I hope it was eye-opening to anyone who is listening. And reach out to Jessica. I mean, she's wonderful. She's just precious to talk to. So we're gonna, like I said, we're going to put the links in the show notes. And if you're catching this on YouTube, be sure that you subscribe. And I will be talking to you soon. Remember, every Tuesday we have a new episode drop. So again, thank you so much, Jessica.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for being here today and listening. Please leave a review and tell me what hit your heart the most. I would love to hear from you. And if you want to partner with me and the production of this podcast, just head over to this Patreon link. Thanks so much.